it sounds like for these electrodes, you need exposed metal.
Yeah.
So how do you have a device that can survive long term when you've got, don't things rust? It seems like a difficult problem.
Yeah. So we've learned a lot over the decades with other medical devices. So, the first device that was meant to last for a long time, active device, like electronic device that was meant to last for a long time, is the pacemaker, the cardiac pacemaker. In Australia, they made some really important breakthroughs on being able to keep the electronics viable for a long, long period of time by making a hermetic capsule, like a sealed chamber that the electronics went into. And that was done with titanium and ceramic and silicones and things like that. So we learned that silicone and ceramic and titanium were pretty good materials to use. And then the electrode materials, there's a lot of study that goes on to what sort of metal should you use. Platinum is quite a good electrode material, not necessarily for its electrochemical properties, but for the combination of its electrochemical properties and its ability to live in the body for a very long period of time. So it's not the best electrode that there is, but it's perhaps the best combination of that balance between safety and efficacy and that sort of thing. So we knew going into the bionic eye project that platinum, titanium, ceramic, and a few other materials and silicones were really quite good body-wise in those applications, in cardiac applications and cochlear implant applications, etc. So we thought we had a pretty good chance that in the vision area that we'd be able to have those materials sit there. There's also in World War II there were these planes called the Spitfire, and they had canopies that were made out of something called polymethyl methacrylate, which is people know it as perspex or plexiglass in the US. And the pilots would get shot. You know, the canopies would get shot up by the Germans, and little fragments would go into their eyes, and nothing would happen. This polymethyl methacrylate stuff would just float around in there, and there are a couple of reasons for that. The eye is what we call a privileged site. The brain is another one, and the reason, well, we think evolutionary speaking, that the reason for that is if you get sick, you get an inflammation. Things swell to sort of enhance the recovery process. You know, you break your bone or you hit your arm, it's going to swell up, and that's part of the response to the injury. But if you had this happening in your eyes, you wouldn't be able to see, and if you had it happening in your brain, you wouldn't be able to see. It's actually in your genitalia as well. You wouldn't be able to reproduce. So, evolutionary speaking, you've got these privileged sites in your body, and the eye is one of them. So we seem to be able to get away with a little bit more in the eye than we can in other places. We did a study on how well these electrodes behaved inside the eye for a long period of time, and the histologists, the people that look at the tissue after you finish the experiment, they were looking at it, just kind of finding it a bit remarkable that it was so mild, the response. You know, basically, you put something foreign in the body, and the body says, "No, you can't be there. We're going to destroy you." And if they can't destroy you, what the immune system will do is sort of wrap tissue around that foreign thing, and make it so that they can just sort of live together. And if you ever work with wood, you get a splinter. If you've ever seen that splinter, when it eventually comes out of your finger, it's sort of encapsulated in some tissue. And that's the immune system just saying, well, you don't belong here. I'm going to get rid of you, and then giving up after a while, saying, well, okay, you're stuck in there pretty good. So what I'm going to do is wrap some tissue around you that looks like me. That doesn't happen so much in the eye. It does happen a little bit, but not anywhere to the same extent. So we think we might be able to get away with some other materials in the eye. We just haven't explored a great deal of the other options. So we're taking the conservative option and saying it works well with cochlear implants, works well with pacemakers. Let's not rock the boat. We've got enough problems to solve. Let's use those materials.
It's nice that nature throws you a bone in that regard. Another question along these lines: when children are growing, are they born with their adult size eye, or is this something where you'll have to wait till later in life for the implant?
No, it's I believe it's the only thing in the body that doesn't change size.
Nature's throwing you bone after bone. This is something that's gonna this.
yeah, and that's been a kind of a big challenge for cochlear implants. And you put this device in when I think they do it as young as 4 months now of age. So as soon as they're diagnosed with hearing impairment, they'll put in a cochlear implant. So the head's going to change in size by probably a factor of maybe 3 or so. So you got to compensate for that. So they have like little flexible cables and things like that will be able to stretch and grow. So we don't have that particular problem, but we also don't have that particular problem because we're treating diseases of degeneration. So most of these people that we would be able to treat have seen at one point in their lifetime, probably into their 40s or so. So implanting children is a whole different thing.